Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with episode 7 of my series, Solo and Sold It. So this series is about me talking to you about games that I've had in the past and games that I have decided to part with for one reason or another. And they aren't necessarily bad games. They're games that either, I have played enough of and I'm ready to move on. Sometimes they are games that didn't meet my expectations, and sometimes they're games where I do kind of feel like, this one really wasn't that great, and I made a mistake. So anyway, let's go ahead and begin. And as usual, I will save my controversial sell for last. All right, so number 1 was a game that was published a while ago, and it's called Apocalypse Chaos. This is one of those games that I would say was just not very good. Now, I'm not saying it was a bad design. I'm saying it was not very much fun. I remember trying to like it, trying to play it. They had this 3D board situation going on. There was dice. These dice unlock some of your moves and such. It was punishingly difficult, hard to kind of grasp on how to play. Not necessarily, it was just like a confusing experience. And the 3D gimmick of the boards really didn't work out all that well because it was kind of fiddly. It was tough. You had to put things inside and under, and it was hard to see what you were doing, and ultimately just not for me. So Apocalypse Chaos, I would not recommend that one really at all. Even if maybe it's not even in print anymore. I probably, I'm gonna guess it's not. So that was not a very good game. It's one of those few I'd say, no dice from that standpoint. All right, number 2, Escape Plan. Escape Plan had a lot of the things that I usually would like in a Lacerda game, but the solo just was not very compelling. I found it was very mechanical and procedural, and after I played it once or twice, there was almost no compulsion for me to ever want to come back and play it again. I don't know why. There was just no draw. None. And it wasn't that I didn't understand the game. It just did not have the spark that I was looking for. It was just bland. I mean, it was all there. It all made sense. It all worked. But I felt no real joy in the experience of trying to work through the game and actually win the solo mode. So Escape Plan, I just really can't recommend it. Maybe it's better multiplayer. It just was not very good from a solo standpoint, in my opinion. Okay, number 3 was a game that was fine for what it was, and that is Fine Sand. Now, Fine Sand wasn't a bad game. It was just a game that I had played enough of. It's a game that you were like deconstructing your deck, and you were trying to win a certain amount of games in a row, and those games, once you've won them, would allow you to unlock different cards. And I got about two-thirds of the way through, and then the deck that I had kind of, I think, unlocked and built and culled, etc., really made it tough for me to advance. And after playing like 5 or 6 times on that level where I was stuck, I just realized, you know what? I think I'm done. I think I've played enough with it, and that's it. And, Friedman Freeze, he's done a lot of games, and some of them are good. The ones that I really like, but unfortunately, the ones that I don't like from a solo standpoint just leave it flat. Now, this one did not necessarily leave me flat. It just, after a while, I was done with the concept, done with playing it. So Fine Sand wasn't bad. It ran its course, so to speak. Okay, number 4 was Guilds of London. Now, Guilds of London did not have, if I remember correctly, the solo rules inside the game. You could get them or download them or whatever. And Guilds of London was fine, but it was just fine. It was like the epitome of meh. And I had a hard time because of the iconography, wrapping it all in my brain. It was a lot of effort to kind of learn it. And I played it a couple of times solo. I played it a couple of times multiplayer. But there was just nothing compelling about it for me. The card interaction and things looked like it would be more fun than it really was, but it just didn't do it. It did not spark the joy that I want to get when I'm playing a solo game. And so ultimately I said, you know what? I got to let this one go. No thanks. And I never felt like learning it again after I had forgotten how to play because the iconography was so difficult to kind of really understand what was going on. And number 5, the controversial one, number 5 is Too Many Bones. Now, Too Many Bones, I actually had a lot of content for. Not only did I have Too Many Bones, but I had Undertow, I had several of the character expansions, and I played it, and I played it, and I tried, and I loved the idea of it. But every time I would get to the point of the boss, and I would get slaughtered, it was such a crushing defeat because you took so much effort to get there that I was like, oh man, I just can't believe that happened. Okay, well maybe I'll try it again with another group of characters. And I tried it, and I wasn't even playing on like the hard difficulty or the standard. I think I was trying to give myself like the easy benefit, but the ability to get one-shotted, so to speak, in that game was real and very frustrating. And then, you know, if you lost, you were kind of like sent back and you had to try again. And at that point, it almost felt like you were trying to swim up a waterfall. I played Undertow, I played some of the other stuff, really put in way too much money into that game for what I got out of it, and ultimately sold it for a pretty considerable loss. But I just needed to get it out of my collection because it was staring at me in the face all the time saying, this was a mistake. So I know there are a lot of people who love Too Many Bones out there, and I wish I was one of them because I had invested heavily in it, but it just did not do it for me, and I was sick and tired of too many losses. So the other problem with that game too is, you know, the idea of building up your character and strengthening them, again, on the surface was a lot of fun, but it still came down to you're rolling dice. And the dice sometimes didn't cooperate with you, even though you put in all this effort to do that. And I felt like in the solo especially, and I would also play two-handed with two players to try to, you know, get that to work a little better. But the way things scaled it was just punishingly difficult. So I don't know. I don't mind difficult games. I still, you know, play Weather Machine, for instance, all the time. Still haven't even come close to winning that one. Want to play it again to win, but I haven't gotten there. That game, it just defeated me, and it beat me so many times, so hard. I said, enough, I'm finished with Too Many Bones, and that was it. So I had to let that one go. So, as usual, let me know what you think about the games that I have let go and sold in the comments. I'm always happy to hear them, and I really appreciate that you've been watching these episodes and you all like them. And that's great. I don't mind telling you what I sold. Sometimes it's very helpful, and for those people who get a lot out of it, I'm really glad that you do. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to do in the future, hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.